human being.
11 with Jenna. 11 with Jenna. 11 with Jenna. 11. Who you gonna call right now? 11 with Jenna. With Jenna. 11 with Jenna. Right now. 11 with Jenna. With Jenna. 11. Who you gonna call right now?
Hey there, hey there, hey there. It is Saturday, December 18th, 2021. It is 11:11 p.m. My name is Jenna. This is 11:11 with Jenna. I am here 7 days, 7 nights, 14 times a week, right here at 11:11 p.m. Eastern Time, no matter where I am. It's always 11:11 somewhere, and I'm happy that you're here on the show right now. And if you're watching it later, that's even cooler. Well, it's equally as cool. And if you're watching it on YouTube, where my friend William just like picks it up and takes it over and it does its thing and it's super cool, and I'm so grateful for him, and I always want to give him a standing ovation. Thank you, William D. And I am just going to edit the privacy so that all of you can share and share alike this show, because it's been so long. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. And I even have you can't see that, but that's one of those star laser thingy things back there. Hey, Lori Greenwell. That's what that green is. It's all over the ceiling, but I guess it doesn't pick up in the camera. And I have a candle going, and what else? Oh, I just have to get my little drink here. Hot water. And who's here? Julie Luce. Hello, Julie Luce. Mama Grace, William D, Patty Loman. That makes 3 plus 1. Hey, Patty. Hey, Patty. Hey, Julie. Hey, Julie. And Gracie and William and Michael. And I loved this morning seeing Jeff. I loved last night, Display and Share. We saw a Morocco. I don't know when we're going to see one again, but I'm ready. I got my roots right here. This is the same roots from I don't know. I keep it right on the top of the container. Maple and blueberry. It's like eating pancakes. It's so awesome. Hey, Carl Hess. What up? Okay, I got my little hit of maple and blueberry. And I'm ready to go, ladies and gentlemen. One more Saturday night's been in my head all day long. Gary Lambert in the house. Hey, kid. Yo, Brooklyn in the house. What up? Hi there.
Hell yeah, Brooklyn in the house.
Hell yeah, Brooklyn in the house. Gary in the house.
Mm-hmm. It's been a couple of weeks. We missed each other.
Forever.
I know, it feels like an eternity. 2 weeks ago, I couldn't make it. I was embroiled in stuff. And then last week, you didn't think you could make it in time to be in a settled place. So you told me to take the week off. So
here we are. Well, I had the gig, and then we were all doing our and then I went to the beach, and I was just planning on just doing a quick, and then April showed up and we walked on the bluff, and it all happened. 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks.
I know. Well,
hi.
There's catching up to do. There's I missed it. I missed the gang. I missed you.
We missed you for sure. For sure. What did you have for lunch today? We'll just start right out.
Well, I'm kind of in a mode where lunch and dinner I'm having a late lunch, early dinner thing, because I'm trying not to eat too late. On a little bit of a health regimen, a little bit of a trying to drop some pounds and just get my eating patterns more right. So at around, I guess
in the morning anymore.
I'm trying not to. Laying off the carbs, laying off the sweets for a bit. So I had around 6 o'clock, I guess, kind of right in that netherworld between lunch and dinner. I had a very nice, small, not too thick, New York strip steak, cooked perfectly, medium rare, sous vide and then seared, and some asparagus, some lovely oven roasted asparagus.
And just that, those two things totally satisfied you. So you're doing a
That
little
was
bit
it.
of a keto vibe, like no
Little
carb,
going a little keto. No, it won't be no carb. I can't. I'm not that. I
low
can't.
carb.
It yes, as low as I can get and still stand it. And like today I had like earlier today, or was it yesterday? Instead of having a bagel and lox, I put some lox on like a very, very thin wasa, you know, Swedish cracker. So I'm working it. I'm working it. So
Because you're going to Mexico pretty soon.
we'll see. I mean, right now
I know.
it's like it's
I
all
know.
bet we're back in all bets are off territory, and it's very, very,
I never
very
left the all bets are off. I kind of just stayed here and kind of went, okay, you guys, I'm just gonna sit back here and watch
yeah,
what
yeah. I mean,
happens. Are they
yeah.
having conversations, or are they just not, and no one's even talking at this point about it?
If there's any thought of canceling, I don't think it would happen until that week.
Hmm.
I don't think they can't know that far in advance. And they have to stay on top of all the reports and all the ever changing regulations, and they have to be in touch with the FAA, and they have to be in touch with the international authorities. So it's I don't envy the people who have to put these things on right now.
That's
Um,
why we
the,
canceled ours, the Mexico festival. We canceled in November, like
yeah,
the November 3rd. We talked and they finally just said, you know what, we can't regulate the town because it's a free festival. And
right,
so people
right.
just come, hey, Bonnie Barker, long time. So they canceled in November, but
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Something at that level, at these stakes, with this resort all blocked out, and all it's actually, I mean, if they do cancel it, I guess it would actually be more than a week before I go, because there's the first weekend and the second weekend. I'm going the second weekend, so I will know more probably in the first week in January what things are looking like. I really hope it happens. I really hope I feel comfortable going. Um, Last night, in fact, I went to the Capitol.
You did go. You did. You were
Very,
there.
very trepidatiously. Well, what happened was I was already on my way, or I was just about out the door, and then I see on my phone, New York experiences most infections since January of since pre vaccine time, and I kind of freaked. I actually texted Pete Shapiro and I said, I'm starting to have, maybe I should be home watching it. Uh, um, I'll tell you, the event was this great benefit for head count, of course, an organization I'm massively behind and have worked with. And it was an amazing event, and I really wanted to be there. I thought both obligated and eager to be there. And Pete, being the sweetheart he is, he says, it was a reserved seat event rather than jammed dance floor.
Okay.
And then Pete, being just the coolest guy in the world, he said, I'll put you in a private box rather than the general seating population. They've got these boxes on either side of the stage, just, what, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, he's a friend and a brother and a, very, very cherished colleague. So, we have a great bond. So he did that for me, which was really great. And that eased my mind. And also the Capitol has been really diligent about sanitation and the vax checks and everything. I think we may be headed back to indoor mask mandates again. It's possible. But this event was not going to be a total crush because of reserved seats. And so I went, and it was amazing. I'm really glad I went. It was very satisfying. It was very soulful. The event it was called the Capitol Sessions, and it was basically an event based on the incredible history of the Capitol Theater. every song performed was a song that had been performed by artists who played the Capitol, either way back in the day, its early 70s heyday, or since Pete reopened it. And even in between, there was like a sort of a fitful period where it would open and close, or people would rent it out for something. And even that was included. The lineup was incredible.
I heard my girl Lisa was there. We talked about the show today on
Lisa.
Oh, I know.
My light just fell down. Oh my God, hold on.
You say the name Lisa Fisher and the world just goes crazy. You guys check
Lisa,
out her. She's one of a dear buddy of mine, and she's like
she was in that great movie. She was in that great movie, 20 Feet from Stardom, about backup singers, who are not known names, but always bring it. And I mean, Lisa is right in the middle of stardom whenever she gets in front of a mic. People might not know she was a touring female singer with the Rolling Stones for like 15, 20 years. And she, I think the highlight of every Stones show while she was there was Gimme Shelter, when she just brought it so hard. It's just a shot away, sequence of that song. And she can sing anything. She can sing jazz, she can sing gospel, she can sing soul. So Lisa was there. Lisa pretty much stole the show, hands down, without even breaking a sweat. So they
going to be on the show in January.
Oh, how cool. Oh, I will definitely be watching that one, unless I'm in Mexico. But
watch it on Facebook, on
that's
Facebook,
right.
And then on YouTube later.
Cool. Well, if you would even consider it, if you'd let me jump into that show just so I can just touch the hem of Lisa's garment virtually. I've met her a couple of times and she's so wonderful, such a sweetheart. But anyway, so the great Larry Campbell was the musical director, and Jackson Browne and Jorma Kaukonen were the two. There were really no headliners. Everybody played like an equally cool part. So Larry helped curate the show, and they just like looked over the list of everyone who's played the Capitol, and the problem was, who do we leave out? There's going to be they're going to do it every year, I think, now, because the repertoire they can put together for a show like this is so amazing. So Larry and Teresa, his musical partner and wife, came out and opened the show with Samson and Delilah.
So cool.
And then they weren't messing around. They brought out Lisa right away, and she did the Chambers Brothers' "Time Has Come Today," more cowbell, and then Jackson came out, and he and Lisa duetted on "People Get Ready."
Really?
Which I don't think Curtis Mayfield actually ever played the Cap, but the Chambers Brothers had a hit cover of "People Get Ready," so that qualified, because the Chambers Brothers was one of the very first acts to play there in 1970.
Wow.
And everybody who first, they had this great core band. It was Larry, Tony Leone on drums. Do you know Tony?
I know who he is. I've never met
Tony's
him.
He was part of the Levon family. Also Stephen Bernstein associate, but who isn't? He just got the gig as the drummer in Little Feat. He just finished. He just finished.
Mine was the drummer for Little Feat.
Well, yeah. Tony just got that gig and killed it on their first tour. So really
John
happy for him.
John Arbor.
Yeah.
His wife Glad, Ford, as in Robin Ford.
Right.
Her brother was the drummer for Little Feat.
Oh, cool.
For the last few years. Oh, yeah. Cool. Tony Leone just got it. That's
cool.
Drummers.
And my boy Marco Benevento was the keyboardist.
Wow.
And the bass player was originally going to be Byron Isaacs from the Midnight Ramble band, but he had to cancel. And they got this guy, Adam Minkoff, who was, I'd heard his name around, never heard him play. This guy was like a revelation. He was like, played every bass part beautifully. He sang lead on a couple of songs. And if you can imagine a guy covering Leslie West on Mississippi Queen first, and then a couple of songs later, he's doing the Steve Winwood vocal on Can't Find My Way Home, and like just totally nailing both of them. So he was a surprise, great. Connor Kennedy on guitar was there for a large part of it. Amy Helm. Um,
Angel
yeah,
from Montgomery, yeah.
she sang Angel from Montgomery, and
I saw that
uh,
today on YouTube.
yeah, yeah, she's Graham Lesh, representing pops. It's always great to see Levon's daughter and Phil's son, playing together. That's always so sweet. Um, and it was just absolutely wonderful. And just Jackson came back and did a couple of his biggies. He did Doctor My Eyes and Running on Empty. Um, the band absolutely nailed everything. The thing about a show like that is it's sort of a guarantee. If you're playing what is like an FM classic rock playlist, you sort of got the audience they hear the first lick of Layla and they go nuts. But beyond that, you have to play the songs really well, and you have to cover all those styles. And they just nailed every genre, every they went from psychedelic to funk to folk to country. It was really, really amazing. And just it made you consider what an immense role the Capitol has played in the lives of so many musicians and so many fans. So it was beautiful, and they raised a lot of money for headcount. So I'm glad I went.
Yeah.
And I felt safe.
What was the box like where you sat? Did you feel like you were at like Abraham Lincoln kind of thing?
Yeah, it's that kind of thing. So it's that kind of side of stage box. Yeah. And very close into the stage. Great.
And were
great
people
view.
masked?
There were more people masked than I've seen at a lot of other
So
shows.
it wasn't mandated.
Mandated, but it was requested, I think. And everyone in my box was masked. We weren't like right on top of each other, so it felt okay. And the thing we have to bear in mind is, the good news. I mean, if there can be good news in thousands and thousands of new infections, is that the infections for vaccinated people are much less severe. There have been far fewer hospitalizations. There have been no deaths attributed to the Omicron among vaccinated people. So you might get a little bit sick, but
well, they don't know how sick you're going to get yet. That's still there's still the
jury
out on that from what I've been reading. But
the jury.
I can't get a little bit sick right now. So
yeah, that's the thing. I mean, if you need to be out working, or you need to be, I would prefer not to be stuck in my house for 14 days if I were to test positive. It seems like life has just become one long series of risk assessments. It's like, what's worth doing? Do I go to the store?
Totally. That's what it's that's exactly it right there. Do I want, if I'm going to do this, this is what I'm going to do to prevent or try to prevent. And if I'm going to go, this is, you do these things.
Yeah. I'm
about cold and flu. It's about COVID. That's not what's,
yeah. And I'm thinking now, well, I should go back to wearing gloves everywhere. I should go back to the very intense, multiple times a day hand washing. I started carrying around little disinfectant wipes. When I got off the train,
I've been doing that for about 25 years, so I'm one of those people.
yeah. So I'm taking more and more measures to. And I've been out to movies I went to a movie the other day. Well, we have to talk about West Side Story in a minute, because I was hankering to do that last week and we didn't. But I went to another movie. I saw the new Wes Anderson movie, The French Dispatch, and I was the only person in the theater. A private screening. Well, it's
I knew it's Wes Anderson, but what's the film called?
The French Dispatch. It's the most Wes Anderson-y movie ever. I mean, it's like it's really funny, it's touching, it's visually. I'm glad I saw it in the theater because it's like a beautiful work of art. It was never destined to be a big hit, and they're already now taking it over to digital, and you can buy it to download, or in a few weeks you'll be able to stream it. So they kind of had a strategy. We want this to play in theaters for the people who go to see it. it's coming to the end of its run in theaters, so I wanted to catch it while it was still on a bigger
Looking
screen.
around like, is anybody gonna come in here?
Well, it's really funny. This is a new multiplex on the Lower East Side, in the new Essex Market complex,
Wow.
and it was jumping because the new Spider-Man movie was opening, and it was showing on about 5 screens. So the lobby was just, you know,
jumping.
there's like a long.
Sorry, real quick.
Yeah. Oh.
11 with Jenna. 11 with Jenna. 11 with Jenna. 11. We're gonna go right now. 11 with Jenna. With Jenna. 11 with Jenna. Right now. 11 with Jenna.
Okay, we're back to 9. Sorry.
Thank you.
Continue. No,
That's okay. 11's a big number, you know.
it is. I have my 11 with Jenna bracelet on right now.
Oh,
It's
very
11,
nice.
Not
You got
11,
it.
just a bracelet. From April Bruce. Thank you, April.
Thank you, April. I think the whole gang should get one.
I think so too. Well, I'm
Yeah.
making some jewelry right now. I'm making key rings and well, key fobs that have 11 with Jenna. I'll tell you about that later.
Very nice.
Okay.
So yeah, so it was funny. So this theater was really, I walk in, you know, I show my Vax thing, I show my little ticket scan thing on the phone. I go in and say, wow, it's really a lot of people here. And there was like a long line at the concession for, you know, for popcorn, which I really am constitutionally incapable of seeing a movie without popcorn, so I had to wait in line. And then I said, wow, a lot of people. And I said, oh, of course, Spider-Man. You know, that's so I get up to the popcorn counter, and really nicely run theater. You know, like some movie theaters are so depressing. This is like a nice, clean, new, and the young people working there are really helpful. And, you know, so the young woman behind the counter says, oh, what are you seeing today? And I said, the French Dispatch, and she and her coworker both kind of laugh. And he says, oh, you'll have plenty of room. You know, so because no one was going to see the French Dispatch anymore. But it was awesome to be, you know, to be there all by myself, just watching this movie, getting lost in it, you know.
Is it a type of theater where they give you the seat, you choose the seat where you're going to sit?
Yeah, you mean in advance. Yeah, that's a new trend that used to be the old trend. Well, we'll talk about when we talk about West Side Story, I'll mention that, but what going to movies used to be like when I was a kid. But which was,
and in Europe they've been doing it forever. I mean,
yeah,
being in London 25 years ago, and you had to pick your spot.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the new thing, because they have that reclining theater seating thing, which is pretty cool. I mean, the theater seats are the most comfortable they've ever been, and all that's the good aspect of going to the movies, among others. So yeah, I had a blast. But the week before that, I went to see West Side Story, which I've been anticipating since I found out that Spielberg was doing a remake. I said, I really think this is going to be good. You know, and I think Steven Spielberg, it's kind of paradoxical, because he's possibly maybe somewhere with George Lucas, the most successful filmmaker of all time in terms of box office, and, you know, and James Cameron from, you know, Titanic and Avatar and that stuff. But Spielberg's right up there. And I think because of that, in a weird way, he's been underrated as an artist, as an actual maker of films. People expect him to make stuff that's insubstantial, and that hasn't been true of him for a long time. You know, like, well, Schindler's List, obviously, and Saving Private Ryan, and a really underrated film of his, Empire of the Sun. Like, I started realizing what really deep work he could do a long time ago. I thought Lincoln was extraordinary. Munich is a complete masterpiece and a really complex, you know, film on so many levels. So I was really excited, and I was even more excited about it because Tony Kushner was writing it, who is one of our greatest living playwrights. And
my friend Steven Bissinger was the sound guy, the main sound person.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who know people who worked on this film. So, and
I
yeah,
got
so
to see it.
yeah, so I was really excited to see it. And this is a really cool aspect. I knew I wanted to see it. I actually kicked up the extra bucks to see it in IMAX, which is like the biggest possible screen and the best possible sound. Um, and I knew that the best IMAX screen in New York by reputation is at the Lincoln Square cinemas on the Upper West Side.
Mhm.
But here is the here is the beautiful thing about that. The Lincoln Square Cinema is located, and talk about site appropriate, site specific. The Lincoln Square Cinema is located across the street from what had been the San Juan Hill neighborhood on the west side that was torn down to make way for Lincoln Center. But just before the last remnants of it were torn down, it was used as the locations for the opening dance sequences of the 1961 West Side Story.
But if you're
So,
sitting there,
I'm right there, and I remember when that neighborhood was there, in my childhood, that old neighborhood. So, and the movie references that in a really smart way at the beginning. But and in fact, the first dance number that takes place in the street, the first street sign you see says Broadway and 68th, which is where I was sitting. That's the exact intersection where the movie theater is.
I've read
So
a
I
couple
was
people have been posting that. I'm sitting in the exact spot where this beginning of the film was being.
right. Unrecognizable now. So I went in with very high expectations, and it exceeded every one of them. And in fact, I've gone on record as saying, well, let me tell you first. In 1961, I was enthralled with the original movie to the point of obsession.
I love it.
Uh, and over the years, as I got older, I was 10 years old when it opened. And even before the movie opened, I was too young to see the Broadway show because I think I was 6 when it opened. And the subject matter is a little, over the head of a 6-year-old. And I think it ran until I was about 9. I still would have loved to have seen it, but I knew about it. We had the cast album in our house, so I knew the songs, and I already worshiped Leonard Bernstein from the young people's concerts on TV. And so, I was aware of all, I was a Broadway show geek very early on. So I already knew all, and also, when you're growing up and about the whole concept of a juvenile delinquent, in fact, you kind of want to be one at a certain point. But I was too much of a good boy, I think, to really be a juvenile delinquent. And then, you couldn't make the distinction between juvenile delinquents and actual gangs, killing each other. Juvenile delinquents seem kind of just like fun, Anyway, like they stole candy bars from, from stores or whatever. So I was really, I was when I saw the original movie, I was both into the Broadway culture and I was into the just the whole cultural atmosphere that film depicted. And I loved them. This was the thing about going to the movies in 1961. When a big new movie opened, it opened in one theater in every major city. And that was, one of the most beautiful theaters in town. And you dressed up to go to the movies. It was an event. My dad drove the big old Dodge into Manhattan and parked it in the garage. And, and an usher escorted you to your seat. And, it was more like going to theater than going to a movie. And they sold a souvenir book. And how about this? Totally by chance, while excavating the house this week, I found the program.
Wow.
For West Side Story.
Wow. For the film.
For the film, yeah, it's got like a little story,
cool.
Bios of the cast and the origins of the show and the origins of the film, and some lyrics to some of the songs and credits and everything.
So cool.
And I still have it. So that was a kind of a cosmic revelation to find that the same week I was going to see the new movie. So, I know a lot of people, some people have been completely, resistant to the idea of a remake even being made, because I think the first film is perfect. It's absolutely, how can you violate our memories? Well, they're not, you don't have to go see the new one if you don't want your memories violated. But I decided that pretty quickly that the new one it improves on the original one in almost every way that I think is important. And it doesn't take anything away from, the old one was of its time. It was kind of a product of what was the way movies were made and the way musicals were made and what was acceptable in movies at that time. But as I grew older, and I would see West Side Story pretty frequently again, I saw it like probably three or four times. Once it left the big reserved seat theater in Manhattan, it came out to Queens, to my local theater, and I went to see it a few more times there. And my friends and I would come out snapping our fingers and pretending we were the Jets or whatever. And although I should have related to the Sharks, I got smarter later. But anyway, as I became more politically astute, I became more of a Shark guy. But the thing is, like, I started to realize the movie just glossed up the work too much. It made it too Hollywood. And interestingly, the two people who agreed with me most and really strongly disliked the movie were Leonard Bernstein and Stephen Sondheim. They both really did not like the movie. And Bernstein, because he thought they over-arranged the music. They made it too, like, big Hollywood, laid on too many strings and took away a lot of the subtleties that he wrote into the score. And Sondheim just thought they trivialized it by making it all glossy. And he said, if I see a guy who's supposed to be a gang member, doing ballet in a color coordinated outfit, and behind him there are like pastel colors on clotheslines, that look really pretty, they don't get it. I'm not going to be scared of that guy in the slightest, And Jerome Robbins' choreography is like iconic and incredible, but like every shot is perfectly symmetrical, and the production design is so exquisite, and that actually takes away from the power of it. Now, the choreography in the new movie is incredible, but it's more kinetic than balletic, and so the dance, the movement of the dancers actually has some menace to it, like these guys are really,
it's definitely powerful.
Yeah, it's more powerful. Bernstein's score is better served by the arrangements, and the performances are just night and day, except for Rita Moreno, who was awesome in the original, and they had the incredible great judgment to make her an executive producer of this film and also give her a newly created role. She was awesome in the first one. I think Ariana DeBose equals what.
Yeah, it's gonna speak. Yeah. It'll be.
We'll see, because it's not doing great business, and the Oscars tend to vote for like what does great business. So we'll see. I really hope it is recognized for how great it is. But I mean, the main flaw in the original one, of course, was the casting of the main roles. Right. Natalie Wood had this incredible, she had built-in movie star charisma, but that kind of made her wrong for this part. Yeah. And then they painted her brown, which was horrible, and had her speak in a very unconvincing
orange
Puerto Rican, yeah, kind of orange. Yeah, between they didn't quite go blackface and they didn't quite go Trump. It was somewhere in between. But and the thing about Natalie Wood is, I mean, I had a total crush on her as a kid, but I also said she's not really that great in the acting department. She did a few really good performances during her career, but I always had this feeling about Natalie Wood that she never quite got over being a child star.
Because she had that in her all the time.
Like all wide-eyed reactions.
Yeah.
And I, and she was one of those kids who was like, her parents kind of shoved her into show business when she was 3 or 4 because she was so beautiful.
And went through some traumatic stuff at the age of 12 or 13 too.
Right.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like she spoke her lines like her teacher was like lurking off stage ready to rap her in the knuckles if you got it wrong. It's very deliberate. And then she opens her mouth to not sing, and Marnie Nixon's voice comes out, who was also Eliza Doolittle's voice in My Fair Lady, and I think Deborah Carr in The King and I.
Oh,
And yeah, yeah. And that was Marnie Nixon's gig. She never like appeared as herself in a movie. She was the ghost singer. And she had a technically pristine voice, but I never thought she was a very good vocal actor, you know? So she wasn't really conveying the emotion of the character. So anyway, that was all wrong. And, you know, Richard Beamer looked like he, you know, did most of his acting with his dental work. He was like a wax figure, you know? And so the movie didn't have that center, you know? And then you come to the Jets and the Sharks, and the Sharks were also, among the Sharks were also like white actors who were tinted brown. And the Sharks women, they even made Rita Moreno darker. They decided she wasn't dark enough to be a Latina, which she happened to be a Latina, and they're not all the same color, you know. And she was furious about that, but she was also trying to salvage her career because she had some setbacks herself. So she angrily, you know, agreed to that. Otherwise she wouldn't have been in the movie. So like all that stuff worked against the movie. And also the characters were such stereotypes, you know, that they were, and they weren't really characters. And this is where Tony Kushner comes in. Tony Kushner, I think, is the greatest writer alive in terms of emphasizing the contradictions between what I'd call the aspirational America and the real America. And if you go back and watch Angels in America sometime or read the play, there's this amazing scene where those between the characters of Belize and Lewis in a diner, where those contradictions are like really laid out. And Kushner did this in West Side Story. He does it without hitting you over the head with ideology. He just like fleshes out the characters just enough so you know some of where they come from. Like Bernardo is not just the stern, older, protective brother. You know, he's like, he's got these aspirations, and he's a boxer because that was one of the ways out for, you know, Latino men at that time, you know, the ways out of poverty. And you know, Riff, you find out how lost he's been since the start of his life. The guy playing Riff was amazing, I thought.
Riff, when I just went, okay, yep.
Yeah, I thought he was fantastic. Even Chino, the poor schmuck who winds up, you know, killing Tony, they gave him more of a story. And you know, they really sharpened the characters and fleshed them out just enough, you know. So it just stunned me how right they got everything, you know, and they fixed everything that I came to think was wrong about the original. It's and yeah, Ariana DeBose as Anita is just,
she's
wow. She's I really would like her to win Best Supporting. Although someone said, wouldn't it be cool if Rita Moreno won it, you know, for a remake of the same movie from 60 years ago, because she won it in 61, you know. So that, I mean, her part may be too small to get her a nomination, but she's so wonderful when she's in there, you know.
Have you seen the oh, it's not out yet, the Ricardo movie?
Yeah, I'm not excited about that.
I'm not either, but I love them. But yeah, it's gonna be on Prime, so I'll watch it there.
Yeah, I'll watch it on Prime. I will not go see it in the theater. Nicole Kidman,
I know.
She looks like such a wax figure. That, like, yeah, I mean, she's already had so much work done, and then they've like buried her under the Lucy makeup, and it looks a little scary. She's not quite as scary as that statue of Lucy they built in her hometown. Do you ever see that picture? They built the most hideous statue of Lucille Ball in Jamestown, New York. Look up Lucy statue Jamestown, and they actually wound up taking it down because people were so horrified by it. It was one of the worst sculptures of all time.
There's a good one in Palm Springs. Oh, this one with her dress. Oh gosh. Well, there's one that looks like her. Oh, this one. Oh, right. Yeah. The vitamin D Vegemin one.
Is it in there? The vitamin Vegemin? Is it? I don't remember that. It might be, but she has this like just hideous face and mouth, and yeah. So anyway, they wind up taking that down, just like Robert E. Lee. So Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that. Also, I have hated Aaron Sorkin's writing. I loved him in The West Wing, and I love some of his early work, but I think he's become so he just makes movies where people yell speeches at each other instead of like conversing like actual humans. So I really hated The Trial of the Chicago Seven for that reason.
I think there's another Lucille Ball movie coming out, but I can't remember who's doing it. Catherine
I don't
Rose.
know.
Hey, Catherine Rose. Wow. Wow. Cool. Saw that Lucy thing in Palm Springs. Yeah, it's cool. That's a cool one.
Yeah.
Are you watching anything online?
Well, the third season of Succession ended last. Have you caught up? Have you
I'm
caught up at
done.
all?
I'm with you. I'm waiting for the fourth season now.
So
Hello.
amazing. So amazing. Wow. Those I've never seen a show so full, so completely full of utterly detestable people who are so delightful to watch. Yeah.
This is what Grace and I do this when like we hang out and do this a lot. Wait. This wait. I had it. And it's been great how people are doing they're covering it now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I listen to it all the time.
Yeah.
We have a whole dance. But there are people, if you Google Succession theme song, there are people playing it on guitar.
Oh yeah, there are people doing like hip hop versions, dub versions. It's hilarious. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's so good. I mean, it's really one of the best written. All the acting is so phenomenal. Yeah, it's very entertaining. So it's gone now until sometime next year, which is good, which is going to be torture. But you know, there are always things to move on to. I'm really the new season. Have we talked about How To with John Wilson on HBO?
Tell it on HBO Max or regular.
It's on regular HBO once a week, and then it goes on to Max.
Okay. What's it called?
How To with John Wilson. And John Wilson's just got this. He started out as like a YouTube guy. He's just kind of a writer and independent filmmaker. And he comes up with a subject, like really mundane things like how to make small talk, or how to wash your pet or whatever. But the show winds up going off on all these tangents, and he'll start with that subject and start going around asking people questions about this. There was a great one called How to Build Scaffolding, and it was about all the scaffolding that's covering most of New York, the buildings that are under repair for like 40 years at a stretch. Yeah. But then it winds up being like so much more about the city. And it's a show just about the weirdness of living in New York City and the people you encounter. It's really good. It's just a half hour. They just started the second season. There are 3 episodes or maybe 4. I've seen 3 of the new season. Hilarious, sometimes very touching. And this guy's just brilliant. He's this guy he speaks in this very halting way. So I went to my landlady and I asked if I could, if I could maybe get that broken sink fixed, and then I said maybe I should learn how to be a plumber myself, but I didn't know how to do that, so I went to the Home Depot. It's like that kind of thing. It's this storytelling, and he gets so much stuff into a half hour. It's really it's one of my favorite things on TV right now.
I'll watch one of those. I'll try that tomorrow. We watched It's a Wonderful Life today. The colorized version.
I can't
I
watch
did
it.
Because it was just sweet. It was like you see their eyes. I loved it. It was nice.
Yeah. I can't do colorized,
but I like the colors of the dresses.
Oh sure, yeah. I mean, the movies, they got better at colorizing than when it first started. That's more subtle. But that movie. It's interesting that I saw all the Frank Capra movies or a lot of them when I was younger, and that one, because it wasn't a hit when it came out, because it was kind of dark. It was like this guy who like hits bottom. It has the heartwarming ending. I guess you wouldn't want to give spoiler alerts for It's a Wonderful Life because it's been around so long. But if you haven't seen it, it gets pretty dark. So it was not a popular hit. So it didn't start turning up on TV, I think, until maybe the 1970s.
Which is,
So I
I
saw,
remember when I first watched it with Armando and I, we were in New Mexico at my cousin's house. And I remember, I didn't know what it was for years, but I remember these two stars talking to each other.
right,
And it took me years later, all of a sudden one night I went, there's that movie with the two stars. But I was like 5 when I first saw these stars, and I didn't watch the rest of it, probably because it got late and it was dark and, you can't watch this. And then when I was like 20, I went, there's the stars. Yeah.
Yeah. I just caught it by chance one night. I think I was living in Oakland already. And it just completely laid me. The big question is, when do you start crying during It's a Wonderful Life? Yeah.
Oh.
To me, well, sometimes now it's the opening credits because I'm already anticipating what's going to happen. But the scene with Mr. Gower, where Mr. Gower almost poisons the kid.
Oh, terrible.
And George discovered, and that's that. Yeah. So that's only about a third of the way in the movie, and I'm already a mess.
And George, the actor that played George as his son, as the young man, looks like my dad.
Oh, wow.
Eyebrows and the haircut when he was that age. My dad
That's
worked
amazing.
at all those places downtown, so I always have that. Yeah, even Grace, I was like, see, looks like that. Yeah, he does. Looks like, yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
You watched an old Clint Eastwood movie today. Clint.
Yep. So anyway, anyone out there, if you can still see West Side Story in a theater, and it's probably not going to last long in theaters because it's not doing great business, see it in the theater, see it with the best sound and the biggest screen you can, because it's really, you forget how immersive a great movie musical can be, and
I love that they make it for an IMAX.
Yeah, that was incredible. I'm so glad I saw it that way, because you're just in it so deep. And I went, because I was seeing it on the Upper West Side, and it was the first night of the run. It was not a totally packed theater, but it was, because I went at 5:00, so people were still getting home from stuff. So I had free space on either side, and with the stadium seating, the person in front of you is pretty far away, and the person behind you. So I felt safe in that regard, and so I'm really glad. And now, if you go, you'll probably see it in an almost empty theater near you. So yeah, I'm going to try to see it again in the theater before it goes away, because it's really, I was utterly blown away. I mean, I've always admired Spielberg, and I just think it was brave of him to do this. He's never made a musical, so I thought, he kind of, even if it's not a hit, I think he did something great for his overall legacy and reputation. I'm really, I've been a fan of his since his very first movies. So he's...
Thank you. Hey, I have a question for you.
Uh-huh.
What are you doing next Saturday night?
Next Saturday night is Christmas night.
Christmas night.
Well, I can't think of a better present I'd rather unwrap than an appearance on 11/11 with Jenna.
And I'm going to open it up to people both Christmas Eve and Christmas night if anybody wants to jump on.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, let's have a Christmas party.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll wear some formal tinsel.
Okay. Is your brother still there?
No, he left. Was it about a week ago? Yeah.
And did you guys get through quite a bit?
We got a ton of stuff done. There's still a ton of stuff. They're going to come back, health and travel pending, sometime in January, probably after I get back from Mexico, going to Mexico pending. My nephew just tested positive.
Really?
Yeah, which he's like 36. He's triple vaxxed. He's got two very small kids, so it's going to be very problematic. So I'm hoping it's just, it's asymptomatic, and he's going to lay low. I don't know how they're going to handle it. It could be that his wife will take the kids to the grandparents or something. Right. I don't know. It complicates lives so much. I mean, I'm here solo, but people with families, it's just, the burden and the risk and everything is
it's a challenge, keeping everybody safe, and then when that happens, you just lock yourself upstairs or in a
Mm-hmm.
room or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Bill Winokur. Bill Winokur's here. I love your posts, Bill, and thank you for the flowers.
Mm-hmm.
He puts roses on
Yes.
for everybody.
Yeah.
Well,
Oh,
cool.
can
Oh,
I can I
of course.
can I just I didn't, in going back and saying the way it improved on the original was, I should mention Rachel Zegler, who's Maria, who got the part at the age of 17.
Yeah, she was still in school.
Yeah.
Steve is. I'm gonna have Steve on the show sometime. I remember when they first cast her and he was working on it. He's like, man, you got to hear this woman sing. I mean, this 17-year-old sing. Yeah.
Yeah, and she's so, I mean, she is Maria. She just exudes everything you want that character to be. Sorry, Natalie, you didn't. But and Ansel Elgort, he's been getting like the most tepid reviews as Tony, but I definitely think he improved on Richard Beamer, who was just such a stiff.
They're
They all
they're laying low on him for a couple other reasons, but
right there was a Me Too thing, which actually it's murky because there
a little
was,
bit more than a Me Too. But
well, yeah, but it only surfaced in some tweets that then went away. Now that doesn't mean it didn't happen, because people can be intimidated if they post something on Twitter and get threatened and all that. But it's yeah, it obviously it couldn't have helped the whole culture of the movie that it was right after they finished shooting that this thing came out. So I don't know what to think about that one. As far as his performance goes, like I felt like some people who are like trashing his performance kind of feel morally obligated to trash him on some level, and that's understandable, but also it's not germane to the performance. I actually thought he did fine with the most thankless part in the movie. I mean, Tony is the most, has the least of a personality of anyone in the movie. And Tony Kushner did some stuff to remedy that too. I mean, but it's kind of like inherent in the character that he's kind of not going to be the focus. I like that they actually kind of shifted the focus to Bernardo and Anita are more central to the movie, and to the story, and they deserve to be, because they were incredibly dynamic and all that. So, but I thought Ansel Elgort, like, he had kind of like a haunted quality to Tony, where, as I said, Richard Beamer tended to work primarily with his dental work. Yeah.
you're great now. I missed you.
I missed you too. Yeah, 2 weeks is a long time in 1111 land.
So next week, you guys, Christmas Eve, I'll be here. Christmas night, we'll be here. If you guys anybody wants to jump on, we'll be partying.
All right.
Talk about our food. Will you be having some good Chinese food on Christmas Day?
I could do the traditional Jewish Chinese food. I'm pondering whether to do the traditional Lambert Christmas Eve thing. Has been lobster for many years.
Ooh.
Yeah. In fact, we used to ship lobsters out to my brother and his family as our annual gift to them. They're going to decide, well, now they can't do Christmas together because of my nephew's infection. So they're going to, last year, actually, under pandemic, we did a Zoom lobster party. We all had lobster in our own. We may wind up doing that again. We'll see. But I'm hoping to go for the lobster vibe again. And then Christmas night, maybe I'll do Chinese. That could happen. Yeah.
Cool. Well, I'm looking forward to hearing about it.
All right.
Thank you. 2 weeks is 28 shows. What does that mean? 2 weeks is 28.
Oh, 28 11 shows. Yeah. Yeah.
Since what? For you? Wait, what?
Well, if you've done 28 shows, you do 28 shows in 2 weeks, right? Is that what he means? Yeah, 14 plus 14.
14
right.
shows, 28 shows. Yeah, right. Okay, I got it.
Yeah.
William, he's so quick.
Yes, he's like the guy who like provides the statistics at the baseball game.
Right. And he did the coolest thing for me the other day. I was talking to Ben Fong Torres on the phone. And
Ben!
Yeah.
How cool.
And he has this radio show.
Mm-hmm.
His Moon Alice radio show.
Yeah.
And Nino used to cook goose. Mama, have you ever cooked a goose? Have you cooked a goose, Gary?
Never a goose. A duck, yes, never a goose. I've had delicious goose, but yeah.
I imagine Carl might be cooking a goose.
Enjoy, Carl.
William, made MP3s of my Christmas record for Bill or for Ben, and Ben chose one song. He bumped Buddy Holly, and he put me right
Wow.
after Tom Petty
Wow.
for his Christmas.
That's pretty awesome. Way to go.
show.
Oh God, I don't think I mentioned at the top of, I saw the wonderful video of you being surprised about your Amazon thing. Oh, that was so sweet. That was like a moment from It's a Wonderful Life. You know?
Yeah.
Cookie almost cried when you told her about it being your dad's favorite song. You know,
I couldn't believe it. He said, "Yeah, can you meet me online today on a Zoom at 4:30 today?" And I said, "Sure. What's up?" So I'm
Yeah.
like, cleaning my kitchen or something,
Yeah.
and I get on and I'm getting a standing ovation
Yeah.
from people, and I'm like, "Who's there? Who's there?"
What's going on? That was a great little ambush. I love seeing that. Did your dad? I mean, it's a great song by anyone. For me, the definitive version has always been Frank Sinatra with the Tommy Dorsey band, and I think it was the Pied Pipers was the singing group backing up.
Ever since I was a kid,
Yeah.
because I always thought when he'd say "Sing Dream," I thought "Dream, Dream,
Oh,
Dream,"
right.
and he
Everly
taught me
Brothers.
me the original, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh yeah, I can learn that." And so for my whole adult life, can you sing Dream? Can you sing
Oh,
Dream?
that's so sweet. It's a perfect song. It's
Yeah,
so simple, such a beautiful structure. Oh man.
Rob Moran
Yeah.
and Matt Rawlings, not too shabby. So
Oh man, Matt, so great.
yeah,
Yay.
thank you. That's cool.
All I can say is yay.
Yay. I know. Can't wait till we do it again. He's
Mm-hmm.
working on another project right now, but it'll happen. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I've never cooked Rob Morocco has had his goose cooked. Ha 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 ha. Funny man. And we did see a Morocco last night, so maybe by next week we'll have another one.
Great.
I don't know. Have you seen a Morocco? Have you witnessed a Morocco? Rob goes outside because it's 30 below zero,
Oh yes, I did see one. Yes.
throws the water in the air, and it
Yeah,
freezes,
yeah,
and it
and it
almost
freezes in the air. That's
breaks
amazing.
in his face. Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's awesome.
Brilliant. It
All
is.
right, kiddos. Well, happy Sunday, December 19th. Here we are.
So it is right square on.
Yeah.
Oh no,
did
it's
it.
12:08. 12:08, right? A few
Thank you,
minutes
Gary
past.
Lambert. Thank you.
I
Thank
love
you.
you, Jenna Mammina.
I love you too. Would you like to pick a letter?
Yeah, let me see. M for Maria.
For Maria is beautiful, beautiful. Letter M for how much I love to hang out with you, Gary Lambert, and all of you too, right here, including Mama Grace. I love you so much that I'm gonna walk downstairs and kiss you right there on your face, everybody. Oh, thank you all for coming out tonight. Share the show if you would, please. And if you would, stay safe, stay healthy, and be real nice. And listen to Gary Lambert tomorrow at 4 p.m. Yes, on XM. And everybody, please have memorable thoughts, mouthfuls of words, and a magnitude of love from your heart. Thank you, Gary, and good night. Love heart, everybody.
Muchas gracias.
De nada. Buenas noches.